So, as we will all now know, Leeds United missed out on signing Igor Pisha. We put in a hell of a bid and Marseille were able to just about match it, and of the two, he prefers Marseille. If he wants to go to Prison FC, let it be. We've got our own work to do, so in this video I'm going to take a deep dive through the various different targets that Leeds are now reportedly looking at as alternatives down the list of players that we have an interest in, and ultimately what that could all mean for Leeds United going forwards. Before I do so, I'd hugely appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel. It just really helps the channel to keep on growing, and it means that effectively in the long run I will be able to put more time and effort into this compared to like a full-time job. So that'd be absolutely lovely. Thank you. So, quick summary, what happened with Paixão. Things from a media perspective were absolutely chaos. I will do a stream on Leeds United's media strategy, I think, today, because I think there's something quite interesting to dive into on that. But it seemed like Leeds were on the brink of signing Igor Pisha. Ended up not happening because at the last minute, Marseille were able to match our offer of 30 million euros plus another 5 million euros in add-ons. We'll skip past this because we have some alternative players to look at, because let's be honest, Leeds aren't just going to be looking at one player. For everyone that has looked at the Pisha situation and said Leeds have just wasted time on other targets now, bollocks. In the last 10 days, Leeds have signed 3 different players, which is not a bad start in the slightest, and very, very clearly the Paixão thing was going on whilst those conversations were happening. So we'll be fine. We'll have other targets and we'll move on to those very quickly. I'm going to go through these in sort of rough order of excitement, just because I think that's a quite fun way of going with it, with the least exciting of the ones that have at least been mentioned being Bilal Khannouss. Now, Khannouss moved to Leicester last season after playing fairly well over in Belgium, but he didn't do especially well at Leicester. 2 goals, 3 assists last season in 32 appearances is not fantastic, and if you have a look at his numbers, they're also not brilliant. But a significant part of that is the fact that he was unable to get any shots off because he was in a Leicester side that weren't able to do anything. In terms of expected assists, he was very solid, tried to do a lot, so more than an average amount of like attempted passes, reasonably good in the tackle. This isn't an exciting one. This is one where a lot of names have been floated around with Bilal Khannouss, with multiple clubs being mentioned, and I will be completely honest with you, I wouldn't be super excited if we were to sign him. Yes, there's a hell of a player in there somewhere, and he's still very, very young, so he's 21 years of age at the moment. But for me, he's not approaching the Paixão standard that was set in terms of the players that we were looking at, and I think we need someone who is at the very least entering into that conversation, because if he can't even knock on the door, then I'm a bit less excited for it. Next up, we have a player that we will all be a little bit more familiar with. And I'm going to take time to explain this one, because a lot of people will see it and they'll go, I can't particularly be bothered. But I think that would be a massive mistake. And the second player is Manor Solomon. The links with Manor Solomon have been picking up and up and up in recent days and weeks. I don't know whether it's in response to the Paixão stuff or around the fact that he is clearly one of the players a little further down on our list. But Manor Solomon had a spectacular year last season. A lot of people will look at our squad and go, yeah, he's not particularly better than Nonto or Ramazani or James. Once he was into his flow, he was ridiculous. Now, you've got to remember that for a big chunk of the early season, he was coming back from injury, he was taking his time, getting into matches, all that kind of stuff. He was in the top 5% of assists of all wingers. Top 14% of goals scored per 90, massively outperformed his XG, and only had an average number of shots because he was also supplying opportunities for everyone else. Progressive carries is in the top 7%, successful take-ons top 10%, top 5% of progressive passes received. His pass completion was ridiculous, over 80%, top 8% of all wingers. In terms of a player that fits the system, that doesn't need to adapt significantly, and let's be honest, was happy here, Manor Solomon would be a hell of a move. I would have 0 issues with this if it was the one that were to happen, because my God, there's a player there. And then we get onto the one that has been mentioned all over the shop, the very, very exciting one, and this is Dylan Bakqua. Dylan Bakqua is a French wide midfielder winger combo. He's played at fullback a little bit. so I'm trying to pick the fairest version of his numbers to take a look at. But he's a very, very, very good attacking player. Currently 22 years of age, so on the younger side, but with plenty of room to improve, and his numbers are very nice. Non-penalty goals per 90, for example, 0.22. You get a goal out of him every 4 games. Overperforms his XG as well. He's not had many shots, but he was playing at Strasbourg, who didn't have a spectacular season. Comfortably above average on assists and expected assists. Passes a lot, carries the ball a lot. Very, very good player. Dylan Bakqua is one that I think we should really be keeping an eye on because I think there's a hell of a player in there. And if we are the ones to sign him, I don't think it'll cost Pisha money because, let's be honest, he's not as proven as Pisha. Very few players that are going to be on the market and available to us are. But I think Dylan Bakqua is one that would be a spectacular move for us to, at the very least, consider, potentially go for. And then we need to dive into the other work that is left to be done by Leeds United because there are plenty of positions where a lot of people will look and go, we could do with a bit of improvement there. The first one of those, immediately following the Isaac Schmidt news, is the left back. This isn't a position that we need more than any other position. It's just the first that came to mind when I was writing through. And another left back would be fairly useful because if you look at our depth at the moment, last season it was Voba was a backup left back, Schmidt was a backup left back, and they're both gone. And Fopo is also gone, and we've got Gudmundsson in. So at the moment, our fullback offering is Bogle, Gudmundsson, Byram to do both. So if you've got minor issues for both of those players, Byram can't be in 2 places at once. I wouldn't mind us looking at another left back. I don't know what the situation is with Tyrick Mitchell as an example. I think his contract ran out, but they didn't release him, and at the same time, they've not given him a new contract. Baffling, headache-inducing. Hugo Bueno has also been mentioned in relation to Leeds United, currently at Wolves, was away, I think, also at Feyenoord last season, and has a hell of a lot of potential to him. And as a backup left back, I would not complain in the slightest. Other position that we need to look at very obviously is the striker, the number 9. I think Mecha is going to go massively underrated, but we do still need to sign another number 9. And I think we will. I think Rodrigo Muniz is the one that is the loudest of the conversations that's going on right now. I'll be honest, Piru I think will do quite well if he's given the minutes. Same for Mecha. Someone that has a bit of a spark to them, that's a little bit special, would be very, very useful for us right now. I wouldn't mind a young player that's got a hell of a lot of potential, anything. And in addition to the left back and the striker and the winger, I think a place that we really, really need to be looking is for any further opportunities. I know this isn't a specific position, but if you look back season over season, some of the best deals are done at the very end of the window when a player is either unhappy with a new manager or not getting playing time they expect to be getting. That's when we need to be jumping in. When there's players that pop up on the market late on and you go, that'd be a fantastic move for Leeds United to make. Like a Rafinha, because that's what happened in that season. Like a Nonto, who was a last-minute pull. Like what we were going to do with Cody Gakpo. We ended up not doing it, but there will be players available. And whilst the Pai Shao thing is a big miss and it's a little bit of a pain because he would have added a hell of a lot to our squad, we can keep moving now. Get the next signing done and get the squad into a position where we'll be completely fine for next season. But as always, that is just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it as well. Subscribe it if you haven't yet. And you can even become a channel member. You get videos like this one early. It's always massively appreciated. And it helps me to do this more often because a lot of the time it's a choice between this and job. And job pays guaranteed money, which YouTube doesn't. And I think that might be going away again at the end of the transfer window. So any support would be massively appreciated. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later. Ta-ra.